4 high schools, 7 middle schools, 1 college, and a university, and much more. Now introducing your most comprehensive weekly local sports show in Madison County, the Richmond Register Sports Show. The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Central Kentucky Pressure Washing, Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. Wynn's Auto Detailing Service. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms. Here's your host for all things local sports, the Richmond Register sports editor, Nathan Hutchison.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. My name is Nathan Hutchinson. I'm the sports editor of the Richmond Register. Appreciate you tuning in this week. And of course, a little bit of a change this week. We are this episode is premiering on a Saturday instead of a Sunday, so we'll not be in town tomorrow. So we're going to give it to you a little bit early. We wanted to make sure we still gave you a show, though. So the only caveat to that is there'll be some stuff we can't talk about in the recap of the week that was, obviously. But of course, our social media sites, Richmond R Sports on Twitter and Register Sports on Facebook. I'll keep you updated with as much of that stuff as we can. But we'll give you a complete recap up until Saturday morning when we film this, and then you can get the rest of the updates there. But coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be joined by local historian Phil Seifert, and he is working with us and our buddy Randy Rosenbaum here at kymedia.net to work on a special project to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the plane crash that killed 10 Richmond men back in 1972 who were out in western Kentucky watching out there to cover and watch a Madison High football game. So a very special thing for folks here in Richmond. So we are working with him and Randy and the rest of the staff at the Richmond Register to do something very big for that. And we kind of want your involvement. So that's why Philip's here to talk about it and give you a way to reach out to him if you want to be part of our project. We are doing a documentary. It'll be a film documentary. And we do want everybody here in Richmond who wants to be part of it to contact us and be part of it. So here in a minute, you'll hear from Philip, and he'll tell you all about our plans and moving forward and how you can be part of that project. So, but before we do that, we're going to give you a recap of the week that was in Madison County sports, at least up until Saturday at noon. so here we go. But the 2 high school golf regionals were this past week, and it was definitely good results for Madison Central. We start off on Wednesday over at Kearney Hill, the Region 9 boys tournament, and the Indians turned in a definitely a historic performance. Madison Central shoots a school record 276, 12 under to beat out LCA by 7 strokes for the title, with senior Mason Hamrick 5 under 67. He tied for the individual lead. He did lose in a 1-hole playoff for the championship. Then it was Clay Pendergrass and Warren Thomas both going minus 468 to tie for third. Braden Bond plus 173 tied for 13th, and Radney Bales plus 981 to tie for 38. So Madison Central moves on to the semi-state, which will be Monday at the Winchester Country Club. And of course, it's very interesting. Madison Central beat out LCA by 7 strokes this year. Last year, when they played over here at Gibson Bay, they needed a team playoff to decide who was the region champion. Of course, that was a lot more nerve-wracking because back then only 1 team from each region got to go on to the state. This year, the top 2 teams from each region go on to a new semi-state version, as we kind of have a third step ladder in the postseason golf here. So not as much drama this time around, but afterwards we got a chance to talk to Coach Kyle Congleton, Warren Thomas, and Clay Pendergrass.
Here at Kearney Hill Golf Links with the 2022 Region 9 champions, Madison Central Indians, Coach Kyle Congleton, Clay Pendergrass, and Warren Thomas. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Coach, it's a obviously 2-team race today. You guys in LCA. Yep. You guys pretty much got on top early and second straight region title.
Yes, sir. Now we knew today we were going to have our hands full with LCA, and we also thought there was going to be a little more competition with Frederick Douglass, Great Crossing, Floyd County, Lakeland Catholic. As far as my 7 years coaching, I thought there was going to be more competitive today than any of the years in the past with just so many deep teams. But I knew if my guys stepped up, played like they knew or can, that we would be fine. And today, we always talk about getting everybody to click on the same day. And finally, those top three guys led the way, and then Braden, who just came on tremendously here the last couple of weeks and shot 73, which I know he's a little frustrated with, but as a coach and those guys, we're more proud of them. But today we knew we had our hands full. We prepared the best that we knew how to, and to come out with a win, it was huge for us.
School record, right?
As far as I know, me being a coach here the last 7 years and playing, we've never shot 12 under, no sir. So got to be a school record.
Yeah. Clay, you were saying afterwards a little boring compared to last year. We had to go to a team playoff, right? But you guys pretty much had this thing wrapped up. About 4 or 5 holes left, I guess.
It's not a bad thing that it was boring. I didn't want to have to make a putt like that again, but it felt good that we could just coast through it. But it was definitely a little more anticlimactic than last year. But
Clay and Warren, you guys both had a chance to be in the playoff. Warren, you came up a little bit short on an eagle putt there, and Clay, you just missed an eagle putt that would have gotten you in the playoff as well. So both of you talk about 18 there.
Well, I came up and I hit a drive a little right and a 9-iron on, and then I pointed at Mason and told him that I'm gonna try my best to be in a playoff with him, and it literally grazed the right lip. I don't know how it didn't go in, but I'll take my tied third.
On 18, we were actually looking for my ball for a good bit, and actually ended up finding it more close to the fairway than what I thought it would be. And then hit 5-iron, bounced it up there, and then left it a little short and low. But happy to look Mason at 67. Definitely fun to have a chance to tie.
Yeah, I talked to Mason afterwards. I mean, the fact that he couldn't even play this event last year. Of course, he was here so many times when he played for Model. He transferred. He wasn't able to play because the KHSA wouldn't clear him. So for him to get out here and be able to do this is great for that young man.
These guys, myself, a lot of people there in town know what Mason's capable of doing. And this year, it's always been one swing, one hole that stopped him from being right there with these guys all year. So to see Mason put 18 holes together, and really his one bogey he had was a great bogey in my opinion. He put a wonderful round together today, and it's no surprise to me as his coach, and these guys definitely aren't surprised by his play today. I mean, he's worked for it, he works as hard as anybody, and he deserved that moment today.
Winchester Country Club next week. You guys been playing over there recently? Or kind of getting familiar with that course yet?
We haven't been over there yet because he doesn't like to make plans before which I agree, don't jinx anything, don't get ahead of yourself, but I'm sure we'll be taking a few trips over there before next, when is it, Wednesday?
Monday.
Next Monday. So, we'll basically call tonight or right here pretty shortly and kind of see what they allow us to do as far as getting over there, see if we can get on this weekend or one day this weekend and try to get on between now and Friday too. But one thing, I know that course pretty well, so hopefully I can get over there and give these guys some advice that haven't played it as much, and we'll make the most of it and get as much playing as we can over there so that we are ready and fully prepared for Monday.
Congratulations, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
The second straight region title for the Madison Central boys golf team. Once again, a school record 276 on Wednesday at Kearney Hill. And, the great story there, you heard it in the video. Mason Hamrick is a kid who was a senior at Madison Central. He transferred over from Model. KHSA would not clear him last year, so he was not able to play in the region. So it was really great for him to go out there and do so well on Wednesday. And he was 5 under, tied for the lead, headed to 17 with the young man from Sayre, and who was already in the clubhouse sitting at 5 under, and then Mason bogeyed 17 to go to 4 under, and had to have a birdie on 18 to force a playoff, which he did just that, and they went back and played 18 again as the first hole of the playoff, and his approach shot, he kind of hit it a little too far up over the green, and wasn't able to get up and down. And did lose the playoff though, but still, for a kid who had been through a lot in the past year and who wasn't even able to play in this tournament last year, it was a very satisfying day. And afterwards, we got a chance to talk to Mason Hamrick.
We're here at Kearney Hill Golf Links with the Region 9 2022 runner-up, Madison Central's Mason Hamrick. Mason, you fell in a playoff on the first hole of a playoff for the championship, but considering what you've gone through in the past year and the fact that you weren't even allowed to play in this event last year, I'm sure you got to be very happy with how your day went.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a good way to end off the season. Obviously, we got more to play, but for my last region, that's really a good way to end it off. So I was really happy.
Yeah, for those who don't know, you transferred from Model. You weren't eligible last year.
Yeah.
So you had to come over here and watch and not play. So kind of just what was that experience like?
Yeah, obviously, like, last year I was happy for the team, but, I wanted to be out there super badly, but so I'm super thrilled to be eligible this year, and had fun out there today.
Yeah. Coming up to 17, you were in a tie for the lead, and the kid from Sayre was already in the clubhouse, and so you bogeyed 17, which kind of put you in a bit of a pinch. You had to birdie 18, so kind of walk us through 18 there.
It's an easy hole, so I was just trying to get a drive down there. The whole right side's open on that hole, so I knew if I got something down there, I'd have a good look in. And I hit it up there and got up and down. So
on the first hole there, go back to 18. It's just a good shot, just a little bit too much club.
Yeah, I thought I hit a really good shot. It's just probably a little adrenaline, downwind, caught a flyer, and I hit it over the green. And had a tough chip, so. Obviously I wanted to win, but it's fine. I'm happy that I played. So
yeah. Like I said, moving on to semi-state next week, so got to be excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we got a good shot this year, and I'm excited.
You're always behind me making faces at you. They're all back there. They're all back there. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Well, sorry about that, Mason. But congratulations on a great round, and we'll see you next week at the Sept State.
It was Hayden Adams of Sayre who took the individual title there in the playoff over Mason. But congratulations to Mason. Congratulations to the Indians. Once again, school record score of 276, and they'll move on to the semi-state on Monday at Winchester Country Club. The top 3 teams from the semi-state will move on. And looking at the field from the region that Madison Central's in, I would certainly think that would not be a difficult thing for them to do. They will certainly be heavily favored to move on to the state, which will be the next week after that, of course, in Bowling Green. And on Tuesday, the girls' 9th region tournament was held at the Woodford Country Club over in Versailles, and it was a wild day over there, folks. So Lexington Catholic kind of coming out of nowhere to take the title, and they did it by 10 strokes with a plus 23.04, which, as we said, that made a lot of drama because only the top 2 teams from each region get to go on. And of course, Madison Central Lady Indians have had a fantastic season. 12 tournaments, they've won 10 of those 12. They finished second in the other 2, but a lot of points on Tuesday. They were in 3rd place behind Lexington Christian Academy. So that would have, if they would have finished 3rd, that would have meant it. That the season would have been over for the Lady Indians. And despite winning 10 tournaments and all the accolades they've had, that would have been it. So, but they did rally. They did come back a plus 30, 314, their highest score of the season. But it was enough to get to the semi-state and to keep their season alive. Elizabeth Everly plus 273. She won the individual title in a playoff. We'll talk more about her in just a second. Claire Beth Ramsey plus 677, finished tied for 8th. Abby Buchanan plus 980, tied for 13th. And Molly Neely and Lydia Harrell both at plus 1384, finished tied for 20th. And afterwards, we got a chance to talk to a very relieved coach of Madison Central, Tenny Orr.
We're back here at the Woodford County Country Club where the Madison Central Lady Indians have taken 2nd place at the Region 9 Championship. Coach Tenny Orr is here with us. And Coach, it was a nail-biter kind of day. For a while there, you guys were in 3rd place, and which would have meant the end of your season because only 2 teams move on to the semi-state, but your kids finished strong, and season's not over yet.
That was the day. It's just survive it so we get to Winchester next week and get, hopefully, move on from there. But it was tough. I never envisioned it being this tight. I knew it would be tight, but not so tight that it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Obviously, we've talked about this before, but of course you guys are not that familiar with. You guys did come over here and played a few times. I heard the Catholic had played it quite a few times, and it showed because they played great. And
they've been coming on all the rest of the season and played well this weekend. I think there was a little bit of pressure for the seniors and the team in general because they do want to be in Bowling Green in 2 weeks. So luckily we got the first phase out of the way and we can move on from here.
Yeah. I know a lot of the girls they don't look at the electronic scoring. I'm sure you do, but when you guys,
it's a blatant lie.
It's a blatant lie. Well, I know you look at it, and when you're looking at that, and you guys slipped into 3rd. It's like I said, it's been such a great season. 10 tournament victories, and you think, this whole thing could be over in a matter of an hour or so.
Yes, and I would be so heartbroken for the seniors because they put so much work and dedication into the last 4 years and helping all the other players. Yes, it would have been heartbreaking, but you don't want to leave that way. Not as much as they put into it. Yeah.
And Elizabeth, the fourth playoff of the year, if you include the one she had back over the summer in the junior event.
Yes.
She's been in a playoff in the state championship. I mean, she's just so battle tested in those moments, and it doesn't seem to rattle her at all.
She has a great
Disposition.
and character, and knows how to keep it steady and keep it out where she needs. She doesn't press too much. She keeps it right there where she needs it. And we just keep hoping that her putter gets extremely hot because she rolls it so well. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll see a new putting. So,
all right.
All right.
Second place is good enough to move on. That's all that matters at this point in the season.
We survived. That's the word. You know the song? Survived?
I will survive, the Gloria Gaynor song.
Yeah. Because that implied something else.
Hey, but for you guys, it means you're playing next week in Winchester. So
absolutely. That's all we need to do.
All right. Well, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you so much.
All right, big sigh of relief from Coach Orr and the Indians as they move on to the semi-state, which will be Tuesday at the Winchester Country Club. But let's talk a little bit more about Elizabeth Eberly. She had she was just rolling right along, was one under, then she had a double bogey on 16. She had to go par, 17, 18 to get into the playoff. It was three young ladies that were in that playoff. On the second hole, she birdied to take the title. And of course, Elizabeth is no stranger to playoffs. She was in a playoff for the state championship 2 years ago in Bowling Green. She was in a big playoff this past summer to get into a huge PGA national event. And then she had, during the regular season, high school season, she was in 2 playoffs as well. So her 4th playoff of the season, but she prevails in the second hole to claim the individual title. So here's what Elizabeth Eberly had to say after the tournament.
All right, we're here at the Woodford County Country Club, Region 9 Championships in Madison Central's Elizabeth Eberly is your individual champion. Congratulations, E.
Thank you.
No surprise, you won it in the playoff. You are the queen of the playoffs. Your 4th playoff this year, but three-person playoff. You won it on the second hole, but you've been in so many playoffs over the years. How do you kind of approach them, and how do you stay so calm and cool during them?
Well, once you get in the playoff, then it just kind of gives you like a calming, I think. It gives me a calm feeling that like I made it there at least, and I have a chance to prove myself. And so today, I played good all day. I had one bad hole that kind of took me off track, but I knew that I'm playing good, and I just had to go out there and prove myself that I did a good round today, and I'm the champion.
Yeah, fourth playoff of the year. If you include the one over the summer back when you got into the big junior event, national junior event. And
yeah.
You had one at Kearney, you had one at Arlington, and then had one at Wild Trace.
Yep.
So another day at the park, right?
Yeah, I have been in a lot of playoffs, so they get easier each time, I think.
Yeah, and you're right there at the top of the leaderboard. Like you said, 16 was the hole you were talking about where you kind of shanked it.
Yeah.
A double bogey there, and it's really only your only bad hole of the day, I guess.
Yeah, I played very consistent all day, and then that hole, I don't know what happened, but I made double, and it kind of shook me up. But I just tried to stay calm and keep going because you never know what's going to happen. And so, yeah, it ended up working out in my favor.
Second hole of the playoff, both the ladies you were playing with missed, not short putts, but hittable putts, and left you with a short putt. So, what's going through your mind when you walk up there to know you knock that down, you win the championship?
Well, I just tried to stay calm because I did miss a putt that long out there today, and there's no guarantee of making any length of putt. So I was just trying to stay calm, line it up at the hole, and just hit it. And it went in, and I was very happy. So.
Yeah, of course, the team comes up a little bit short today, but luckily the way this thing is structured this year, the top 2 teams move on. So this was a course you guys, we've talked about before, you weren't very familiar with. It seemed like Lexington Catholic was a lot more familiar with it than you guys were.
Yeah.
And they played fantastic, and you guys were able to hold off LCA, get that second spot, and that's really all that matters. You can play next week.
Lexington Catholic played great, and props to them. They did awesome. And we'll be back next week to face them again and see what happens.
Yeah, there's some scary times, though. You guys stole the third a few times
Yeah,
there.
it was close all day, so very glad we got it done.
All
Congratulations. We'll see you next week over in Winchester.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Elizabeth and the Lady Indians as they're moving on to the semi-state Tuesday over at Winchester. And just like the boys, looking at the field there, they certainly should be heavily favored to move on to the state in 2 weeks. But of course, once again, like we saw on Tuesday, you never know what will happen on one day on the golf course. And Winchester Country Club is a place that not really on the circuit for normal high school events, and so it's not a course that everybody's very familiar with. Same thing at the Woodford County Country Club, a kind of place that Madison Central in particular was not that familiar with. And the golf course can play a big role, as any golfer can tell you. They're not all the same, obviously, and so that can be a big factor. But Tuesday over at the Winchester Country Club, so Monday, Tuesday for the semi-states, and we'll be there for both of them to give you updates on both rounds. So moving on, high school football only had 2 games on Friday night, and we'll start off with the Berea Community Pirates headed over to Jackson County, over to McKee, to take on their longtime rivals, the Generals, in what they call the Battle of Big Hill. And for the second straight year, this battle was a no contest, as the Pirates rolled to a 54-0 win. They beat them 34-0 last year, so back-to-back shutouts in back-to-back years for Berea over Jackson County. Pirates go to 2-4 on the season, and it was Yamel Cruz with 5 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 1 on a punt return. Cody Roberts, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 on a fumble return. And Cameron Thompson also had a touchdown as well. Yamel Cruz brought that punt back for a touchdown just 2 minutes into the game, and it was pretty much on from then. It was 40-0 at half. They got the clock running. A big, easy win on kind of a chilly night over there on top of the mountain in McKee. But after the game, we got a chance to talk to Coach Frank Parks Jr. and Yamel Cruz.
We're here in McKee, where the Berea Pirates have picked up a 54-0 win over Jackson County. Coach Frank Parks, Yamel Cruz, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Well, guys, a tough loss at home last week to an undefeated Pineville team. You come over here in what they call the Battle of the Big Hill. It's good and roll to a pretty easy victory, so it must feel good to get back in the win column, Coach.
Yeah, it does. Like you said, we had an opportunity last week to get a big win with a ranked Pineville team, and just a couple small things and attention to detail cost us, but we focused on this week, bounce back. Talked about finishing off drives, executing. Once you have those opportunities, take advantage of them, and we did that tonight.
Yeah, Yamel, 5 touchdowns, and right off the bat, you took the first punt of the game back for a touchdown. To walk us through that play.
Well, I fumbled the ball a little bit, and I just picked it up, seen the opening, and I just took it to the house.
Yeah, you got in a few minutes later as well, and you go just offensively, kind of what was working best for you guys tonight.
Oh, the running game for sure. GT was really working good. That toss play that we were running worked pretty good. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. It's always special to put up a 0, no matter who it's against. You guys shut these guys out last year as well, so your defense really, I don't think they got across midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Regardless of who you're playing, it's always big to be able to put up a goose egg, because a mistake here, there, or special teams, or offensive turnover, so you still got to execute in all phases, and we were able to do it tonight and pretty much keep it 0 up on the board. So, that's big going into district play.
Yeah, you trucked a guy down here in the end zone. Talk about that play there. That's always got to be good for feel good for an offensive player to run over a defender, huh?
Yeah, I just seen him, and I was gonna get by him regardless, and I just lowered my shoulder.
He was standing right on the goal line, wasn't he? Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, you said, Coach, like open district play gets a lot tougher from here, so it's a good momentum builder, I guess.
Absolutely. We got to bye a week next week, go back, work on some fundamentals, and some little small details we got to shore up. But it's always big, ending this part of your schedule with a win and getting into a tough district, and we're gonna come out and have to continue to build on these last 2 weeks, and hopefully we can make some noise in this district.
Yeah, let's give some love to Cody Roberts over there too. He had the fumble return for a touchdown, also had an offensive touchdown, so a good night for him too.
It was a real good night. He has been playing very solid on the defensive end, and like I told the group last week, he's one of those guys that will do whatever we ask him to do, and pretty much every week that we are scored, he has got a touchdown, and it's been a big touchdown as well, so he might not get as many touches as some of the others, but he's constantly taking advantage of those touches, and tonight he had 2 touchdowns, able to cross twice, but he's just one of those guys that plays hard every play. So I'm happy for him to be able to get in that end zone twice tonight.
All right, congratulations.
Pirates off next week before they open district play October 7th on the road at Kentucky Country Day. And, of course, as always, the Berea is in one of the toughest Class A conferences, or Class A districts in the state, with Frankfort, Eminence, and Kentucky Country Day. So I get a week off to prepare for that. The only other game on Friday night was Madison Southern traveling over to Collins to open up district play for both of those teams. It was a great start for Madison Central. Jay-Sean Etheridge had a touchdown catch. Juan Rodriguez with a touchdown run, and it was 15-6 in the second quarter. But that momentum kind of faded away, and it was Collins coming to rallying for a 27-18 victory over the Eagles. The Titans outscored Madison Southern 14-0 in the second half. Southern falls to 1-5 on the season, 0-1 in district. It was Jay-Sean Etheridge with a TD catch from Ethan Woods there in the first quarter, and at the end of the first quarter, it was 8-0. And then after Juan Rodriguez's touchdown, it was 15-6 with 5:32 left in the first half, and Avery Davidson kicked a field goal right there before the break to make it 18-13. And like I said, the momentum kind of died there for Madison Southern. Collins really ate up the clock in the second half with some long drives and was able just to kind of keep the clock running, keep the ball moving, and keep the Eagles off the scoreboard again. And so Collins picking up a 27-18 win in the district opener. Southern back in action Friday night at home against East Jessamine, another district rival, and me and Randy will be there for our tailgate show. So if you're a Southern fan, come by and say hello. Of course, Madison Central football team was off this week. They are 5-0. They got a big showdown next week at Pikeville, a team who's 5-2 and who just handed LCA about a 30-point loss. So this will be a very good test. These two teams played a heck of a game last year here in Richmond. But the Indians are sitting there at 5-0, but they do have some serious injury concerns. They're hoping to get Brady Hensley back, maybe Rylan Rhodes as well. I think Kenyatta Harge is probably done for the year, but the open week came at a very good time for the banged-up Indians, who will have a very tough test on Friday on the road after a very long bus trip down to Pikeville. So, all right, we're looking ahead to boys and girls soccer, and of course we do have some games that are going to be played today, so we'll mention those as well, but won't have results for you on those. But of course, like I said at the top, just check our social media and we'll make sure we get that information to you. But the Madison Central boys soccer team had a rough start to the season, but they have really come on since. 6 straight victories, 8-7 on the season, 2 big wins last week. 8-0 at Corbin on Tuesday, 7-1 at home on Thursday over Franklin County. And in both games, it was Sam Hughes with 3 goals, and Ashton Ward had 2 goals in both games as well. And in the win over Franklin County, it was Tyler Smith with 2 goals and 2 assists as well. And Central, after some early struggles, is really starting to come on. Their senior night is tonight, Saturday, at home against Danville. I'm going to send my buddy Ricky Elkins over there to get some pictures, so we will have those for you. But Madison Central Indians are surging at the right time of the year. And the model Patriot soccer team also playing very well at this, very well here at the very end of the season as well. They're 14-3 on the season now, 3 straight wins. All those came last week. 5-0 over North Laurel on Monday at home, 7-2 Tuesday at Berea, and then 3-1 at home on Thursday on senior night over Shelby County. In the win over North Laurel, Keshav Bendari, Tanner Martin, Dylan Smith, and Shalin Cuddy Poffenberger each with a goal and an assist. In the win over Berea, it was Keshav Bendari with 2 goals and an assist, and Tanner Martin with 2 goals. And in the win over Shelby County, all 3 goals were by senior Keshav Bendari, who now has 36 goals on the season. 14-3 on the year, and they'll be back in action Tuesday at home against Henry County. Madison Southern had just 1 game this week, a 6-0 win over Bluegrass United on Tuesday. Rue Lemmer, 2 goals, 2 assists. Michael Whitaker, 2 goals. Cam Heshemy with a goal and 2 assists. Madison Southern also picked up a forfeit victory on Thursday. They had a district matchup scheduled with Berea, but Berea has been really hurt by injury and illness, and so they weren't able to put together a team to put out there. So They forfeited the game. Of course, these two teams will play each other again in 2 weeks in the first round of the district tournament. But with the forfeit win and the victory over Bluegrass United, Madison Southern goes to 11-3 on the season. Be back in action Tuesday at home against Lincoln County. And Berea Community had just the one game this week, and of course that was the 7-2 loss to Model on Tuesday at home. But in that game, Berea jumped out to a quick lead. Finley Blevins put the Pirates up 1-0, and they held that lead really almost until halftime. And then Cannon Cummins converted on a penalty kick in the second half as well. Berea actually is in action today at home against Scott County. We'll get you those results a little bit later. But Berea 4-9 on the season as they head into the final week of the regular season as well. Madison Central girls soccer picked up 3 wins so far this week to go to 9-2-2 on the season. Monday 2-0 win over Sayre at home on senior night. Wednesday a 5-1 win at Danville. And then on Friday night a 2-1 win over Central Hardin at the Bruin Classic up in Elizabethtown. On the senior night win, it was Callie Lloyd and Natalie Connect with the goals. And then on Wednesday, it was Callie Lloyd and Natalie Connect with 2 goals each. And then on Friday night, it was Natalie Connect and Callie Lloyd with a goal each in the win over Central Hardin. They're competing in that tournament out in E-Town. They'll be back in action today at 5:30 against LaRue County. The Model Lady Patriots had a couple of games this week prior to today. 4-0 loss Monday at Bluegrass United, and then Tuesday battled to a 2-2 tie at Estill County over in Irvin. And in the 2-2 tie with Estill County, it was Maya Bondari with 2 goals. 5-5-3 for the Lady Patriots on the season. They'll be back in action today at home against Western Hills. It's actually their senior day, and I'm heading over there as soon as I get done filming this to check that out. So Madison Southern's Lady Eagles, 2 games last week, a win and a loss. Monday a 4-0 loss at home to Lafayette, and Wednesday a 5-1 win over Western Hills. They are 7-5-1 on the season. Be back in action Thursday at Lexington Catholic. And Berea Community Lady Pirates just 1 game this week. That was a 2-2 tie with Paris on Thursday at home. Katie Eastlet with a goal and an assist, and Maddie King with a goal. 2-9-2 on the season for the Lady Pirates. They'll be back in action Tuesday at home against North Laurel. And high school volleyball, we've been telling you a lot about the Madison Central Lady Indians here recently and how well they've been playing. They are participating this weekend in the Kentucky Challenge up at Paul Lawrence Dunbar. They had 2 games on Friday night. The first game was a 2-0 win over Henry County, and that victory pushed their winning streak to 17 matches. And of course, a little bit later on in the night, they played McCracken County and suffered a 2-0 loss to snap that long winning streak, but still 20-3 on the season now for the Madison Central Lady Indians. They will continue playing that tournament today, and like we've been saying, just keep an eye on the social media, and we'll keep you updated on all that. But earlier in the week, they did have 2 home wins as well over 2 tough 11th region opponents. 3-0 on Tuesday over Henry Clay, and 3-0 on Thursday over Tates Creek. The win on Thursday was the first ever for Madison Central over Tates Creek in the history of the program. So 20-3 heading into the Saturday games up at the Kentucky Cup or Kentucky Challenge for Madison Central Indians. And of course the big inner 44th district matchup will be Tuesday with Madison Southern coming up here to play Madison Central in the annual Dig Pink game. And speaking of Madison Southern, they had a busy week on the volleyball court. Monday a 3-1 win at home over North Laurel, and then Tuesday a 3-0 loss at home to Scott County, and then on Thursday night a 3-2 win over Western Hills up in Frankfort. In the win over Western Hills was Reagan Burns with 20 digs and 18 assists, Julia Bingham with 27 digs and 15 kills, and they'll be back in action Tuesday at Madison Central. Berea Community volleyball team had just 1 game this week prior to today, a 3-0 win on Thursday at Frankfort Christian. Lady Pirates are participating in the Powell County Invitational this weekend, and we'll keep you updated on that as well via social media. So 5-7 on the season for Berea Community. And the model Lady Patriot volleyball team, 3-14 now on the season. They had a couple of matches earlier this week. 3-0 loss at Frankfort Christian on Tuesday, a 2-1 win Thursday at home over Oneida Baptist. In the win over Anita Baptist, it was Violet Fox with 8 kills, 4 assists, and Piper Moore with 7 aces. And they will be back in action at home, or actually on the road today, a little bit later today against Trinity Christian. And we'll keep up with all that for you as well. So, like I said, just keep up with our social media. We'll get you all those scores of the games that are being played later today. And also, speaking of later today, EKU football team travels down to Clarksville to take on old rival Austin P. 4 o'clock ESPN Plus. You can also listen to it on 100.7 The Coyote with Greg Stoudemire and Jim Tyree. As far as social media, I would suggest you go to at Sports EP, the Eastern Progress Sports Twitter to keep up with that, or our friend Vince Stover at Sports Stove Podcast. They'll be doing some live updates as well. I'll try to keep you updated the best I can, but they'll probably do a much better job than I will. So if you want to keep up with the Colonel, should be an entertaining game. Both teams have great offenses so far this season. Both teams have put up a lot of points, so this could be one of those 45-40 type games or something like that. But the ASUN opener for both teams, a very important game for both teams as well. P at 3-1, EKU at 2-1 as they head into the ASUN games. There's only 6 ASUN games, and that'll could decide who gets the AQ to the FCS playoffs. So every one of those games is very, very, very important. So that's all we got for you today. Once again, sorry I don't have full results, but we will get those to you if you just follow us on social media, Richmond R Sports on Twitter and Register Sports on Facebook. And we'll get that information out there to you. So coming up in just a minute, we'll have Philip Seifert here to talk about a very special project we're working on in conjunction with him and kymedia.net.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Central Kentucky Pressure Washing, Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote.
Wynn's Auto Detailing Service.
And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms.
Welcome back. We are joined by Philip Seifert, local historian. And Philip, you guys, me, Randy, the staff of the Richmond Register are all working on a very important project.
We're working on a project.
You're here today to talk about a very special anniversary coming up.
2, 3, 5 years ago, a movie came out that was We Are Marshall. And it talked about the plane crash that killed the Marshall's football team. A terrible story, just absolutely terrible story. Well, we have a very, very similar story right here in Richmond, where in 1972, some fellas got together and chartered a plane, went down to the far western part of the state to watch Madison High School play in the state playoffs. And unfortunately, Madison did lose the game, and not too long after takeoff, they were coming home late that night. The plane unfortunately crashed, and it killed 11 people, 10 of them from right here in Richmond.
Yeah, and we are coming up on the 50th anniversary
of that. We're coming up on the 50th anniversary of it. And when
Friday, November 17th.
It's Friday, November 17th. A lot of people think, or when you talk to people in Richmond, and you say the plane crash, some people think of the plane crash over at Bluegrass Field 15, 18 years ago. Most people, even though it's 50 years later, still remember the plane crash of 1972. They can tell you where they were and what they were doing when they heard about it. And Richmond stopped for a week. And if you ask anybody, I mean, there was funeral after funeral. If you didn't know someone on that plane, you knew somebody who did. And it really affected this community. And it's still, the wounds are still somewhat fresh. We're not wanting to scratch a scab. It's just remembering a scar that happened here.
Yeah, I mean, the other day when we met to talk about all this, you and I think very accurately said it's probably the most historical moment of the past half century.
In the past half century in Madison County, if it's not number one, it's got to be in the top 3. Easily.
We've had some tornado outbreaks and stuff.
Had tornadoes, and we had some fires and things like that.
Had Eastern winning some football championships.
That's right.
This is obviously
that's right.
Different, unfortunately, a different kind of thing.
I was 9 years old when this happened. I know you all can't believe that I was ever 9 years old, but Eastern was playing Moorhead in football, last game of the season, and my father and I, we went to the game, and at the time I did not know this plane crash had happened or anything, but you could feel a pall over the entire stadium. And of course this happened late on Friday night. It was Saturday morning here, but it was Friday night there. Mm-hmm. And the word is getting out, and the town just noticeably became depressed. It just really, the mood of the town just came down. Mm-hmm. And waiting to find out what happened. There was a lot of talk about this trip, and nobody was exactly sure who was even on the plane. Mm-hmm. So, someone said, well, I didn't know he was supposed to be on the plane. Was he on it? Well, no, something happened and he couldn't go, or he was sick, but it just took a while. And I was surprised when we were doing the research on this that the Register back then, which this is a bound copy of it, had as much information in basically 8 hours. Mm-hmm. Because it was an afternoon paper then. This happened 11 o'clock midnight our time. Mm-hmm. They're having to go to press about 10:30. Mm-hmm. So to get this much together in such a short period of time. Yeah, and that's actually, we can lift this up here and get a good look at it. This is the actual paper from that day. Right here. November 18th paper, but it happened down there on November 17th. Yeah. So had a little time change there. But, and of course, to us folks at the Register, even though I wasn't even born at the time, there were two members of the Richmond Register staff. Two members of the Richmond Register staff were there. And, Jimmy House, the news editor, and Roy R. Watson, the assistant ad manager. And like I said, you knew people all through this. I was talking to a fellow this week, and if you look at their photographs and they're captured in time, you don't see these people age 50 years. But how do these fellows get together? What's the common thread? Well, two of them were attorneys. Okay, we got that. But they were all into the local softball scene. And that's what really connected all these fellas together. A lot of them did go to Madison High School. They were young professionals, the vast majority of them. But it was the softball is what brought them together. Yeah. And what we're doing here, and of course you're kind of leading the charge on this, but there is going to be a documentary. We are going to sit down with a lot of people. We are working on a documentary, and we're asking people to contact me, and we'll give you the contact information here in just a second, to set up a time to come in and just it's an interview, but it's more of just tell us your experience. Where did you hear about this? What was your relationship to these fellas? Did you know this fella, but I didn't know this guy? And there's no guarantee we can use all of it, but it's to keep this memory alive. It's to, when people think about it, the scar that they'll see, they're remembering what happened, because Richmond stood still. It's stopped completely when this happened. Yeah, I mean, I moved here in 2003. Of course, I wasn't even born when this happened, like I said, but don't push it. Well, I've heard that, but I heard this almost from the first day that I came here, and I heard about this from lots and lots and lots of people, even though that was 30 years before I even came here. There was a memorial downtown between the Episcopal Church and when First Baptist was on the corner. Then when the bank came in, things had to change, so they moved the memorial up to Richmond City Park. And then 5 years ago, the city fathers and I got together and we put up a interpretive marker about it, because they had the memorial but didn't tell you what it was. So this helps people understand what happened here. I don't know if you didn't live through it, if you could really experience what happened here, even for a 9-year-old. Yeah. So. Yeah, and there's a lot of folks. I mean, you've already reached out to a ton of people. You got the coach of the Madison High team. Working on him. We're going to, but he'll do it. But if you'd like to be a part of this project, and like I said, we can't guarantee that everything that we have is going to be on this. You can give me a call out at the Battle of Richmond Visitor Center, 859-624. 0013. I'll get your name and number, and we'll get back with the rest of the committee to start setting up appointments to do these interviews. Yeah. And they're not going to be very highbrow stuff. It's going to be very personal. Where were you? How you knew them?
And we love to have.
Why are you still thinking about it today?
Yeah, we love to have family members, but even
We're
friends,
working on that, yeah.
classmates, anybody with any connection to it who feels like they want to share part of their story, and and can contribute something to to this. So it's not really, we don't want to,
we don't.
It could be pretty much anybody who has some kind of connection.
That's right. We don't want this to be a downer, but we don't want to forget these 10 fellas.
Yeah, and it's and you're talking about all these years later how powerful it is, and we talked about you've contacted some folks that were just like, nope, I can't do it.
Well,
even 50 years later, they won't come in here and talk about it.
In 15 seconds, he was extremely emotional, and I just left it alone. Just, if they can't do it, they can't do it, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that was kind of how you were telling us how when you put the new. When you did the ceremony a couple of years ago, that was it was very emotional.
Yeah, we did the sign, and I didn't think we would have necessarily a whole lot of people there for the dedication and all. We had 175 people show up, and was very surprised. A lot of family members there, and it was overdue. But we're going to make it right now.
Yeah. Been coming up on the 50th anniversary. We have a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces here, so we don't want to make any promises, but we are hoping to have a premiere on that day of the documentary. But the world is, we don't want to make promises. Promises we can't.
We'll get it done, but now the date might be a little bit fluid.
Yeah. So we're hoping to have a premiere that night. We don't have a location yet, I don't think, but we are planning to have a public debut of this. And like I said, Randy will be filming a lot of this. And do you want to mention who we have narrator? Is that
Wendy Barnett?
Wendy Barnett from EKU will be narrating it for us, and I'll be helping out doing some interviews. I know Blake Vickers from the Register will also be doing some interviews. I think we're just going to bring people in here, right, Randy? We're in the studio here. And
we'll set up an appointment time and day, or it's a work in progress.
Work in progress, that's right.
But this is kind of our call to the public here to say, hey, if you want to be part of this, please contact Philip, and we'll definitely set up a time. And like I said, you don't have to be related to him. You don't. Yeah, I mean, even if you weren't friends with them, even if you just have some recollections of that day, any connection you have to it, just to add to the overall, picture of what this meant to Richmond and this community.
Right. That's right, and how it has shaped your life, and thus maybe hope our community is a little bit better, even though it's a bad thing that happened.
Yeah, and you've done a whole bunch of research. You've got all these. You put all the obituaries and everything, and you contacted because the plane actually was in Todd County. Was it?
The plane was in Todd County. Madison had gone down to play Trigg County in the playoffs, but Trigg County's football field was apparently unusable for some reason. I never really figured that out. So they played in Hopkins County. And then Hopkins County was next to Todd County. Plane took off, got into Todd County, and crashed.
Yeah, and it had to have been kind of. I mean, the team, I'm sure, traveled back that night.
Now that I don't know, but I can only assume that they, had to take buses and came back, and that was pretty much before a lot of places had interstates. Yeah. So they more than likely didn't know about this, and if you do know, let us know. They didn't know about it until they got back home.
Yeah, and who was the coach? You said
the coach was Monty Joe Lovell at the time. Jim Fleener was the principal. We're hoping to get them to come in and tell us about how they felt, their experiences, how they found out about it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I can imagine they probably. I mean, it's obviously '72. This is before cell phones, anything. So they probably had no idea until they got off that bus the next morning.
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, there's some phone calls going back and forth. I talked to a fella that he was in Alabama, and it was his wife and him were going to school down there, and the phone rang at 4:00 in the morning, and it was like, what in the world is going on? And it's starting to spread.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah, like you said, though, kudos to the old school journalists here at the Richmond Register back in 1972. This is the afternoon paper for that Saturday, and there's a full length story in here about it.
There's a story here about the mayor at the time, Wallace Maffitt, declared a period of mourning. Here, we have a letter from the mayor of Elkton, Kentucky, and Todd County, offering whatever help his community could to hear. What they could do, I don't know, but it's coming together, and we want you to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out to us, and like we said, we want this to, obviously it's a very somber thing, but we do want to celebrate's not the right word, but memorial.
We're commemorating.
Commemorating.
That's right.
And obviously want to keep this fresh in everybody's mind. So I said, if there's anybody out there who wants to be a part of this, please contact Philip. Or even if you see me or Randy, or call the Register or anywhere. I mean, we'll be happy to set it up as well.
We'll get it figured out.
But a lot of good stuff here. And I know that 50 years ago, but a lot of folks who were this impacted their life are still with us, are still living.
Oh,
still
a lot of people are still here. Knew the people, the brothers and sisters, children. Some of these fellas.
Yeah. So we'd certainly like to please reach out to us and be part of it. And like I said, we're gonna, we're gonna do this in a very classy, professional way.
Oh, that's right.
And it's
that's
not,
right.
Of course, anything Randy does with KY Media and .net is obviously well done and well produced. And that's your free plug for the day, Randy. So we're going to do a good job on this and hope to have a public premiere on the actual date, November 17th, or on the 50th anniversary. So it's going to be a lot of good. All right. Appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate you having us. And like I said, if you want to be a part of this, just give me a call out there at the battlefield at 859-624-0013.
All right, well, that'll wrap up this week's special edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show, the Saturday edition. But we'll be back next week on Sunday with a regularly scheduled edition. But, of course, as always, Richmond R Sports on Twitter is the place to be to follow everything in Madison County, along with Register Sports on Facebook and richmondregister.com. See you next week.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Central Kentucky Pressure Washing. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. Wynn's Auto Detailing Service. And by KYmedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms. Thanks for watching the Richmond Register Sports Show. For more information about all things sports in Madison County, log on to richmondregister.com or on Twitter. And like us, Register Sports on Facebook. Get the Richmond Register directly to your mailbox or get the app online and visit richmondregister.com.